In this video, we have a look at tuning as we see if we can actually learn a little bit of knowledge, and by doing that, we nearly understeer straight off at the 130R. Hello everyone, and welcome to this Gran Turismo video, a different one because I didn't spot that in the Daily Race B. Suspension can be changed, only partially though, and that's what we're going to look at in this video. So let's have a look at the car settings then. Obviously in Daily Race B, I used the R8 LMS Evo, and what you can change are the damping, or dampers should I say. As you can see here, I'm changing the compression down to low. So what we're going to do is going to try 5 different setups out. Going all the way low first of all, then what we'll do is we'll change that to go all the way high just on the compression side of it first to see how that changes the car's dynamics and feel. What we'll then do is change the expansion to maximum as well, so then we've got a max, so we can try that out. Then we're going to go to minimum on the compression, as you're seeing there. And then let's kick off. We're going to also use defaults. Coming into the S's then, we're going to look at different sectors here. The compression's on minimum, the expansion is on minimum. Now with this setup, it actually felt pretty safe, but it did have quite a bit of understeer, I found. Let's have a look at it through here then. You can see going around there, there's no real issues with the rear end coming out there as we go through the left. Curbs aren't having an impact either, and as we come into here, we're just slowing the car down a little bit. It's a little too understeery here, to be fair, but trust me, it is understeery on more high-speed stuff, which we'll look at later as we go around there. Again, no real issues on that corner, so quite a safe setup there, really. Now we're going to go for maximum on the compression, but the minimum on the expansion then as we go into the first corner then. Going out of here, again, nothing major, but what we are going to find as we go into here, this curb here on the left starts pulling me around there. Notice how the car went left. This is the best lap I did, but on some of the worst laps, it just dragged me around. It actually was causing the front and the rear to get unsettled, so the front would sort of half work, and then the rear would be unsettled and all over the place. Didn't really feel very nice, to be honest with you. Definitely an issue with curbs and bouncing. Let's jump to the next one then, which was the maximum on the compression and maximum on the expansion. Now this one actually felt pretty good, to be fair, and do you know what, it had decent pace I found as we go into the left there. No issues with that curb. Again, I didn't go over it as much there, but trust me, when you go over it fully, it's fine as well. Let's go into the left then, and you can see here it's just going around very nicely indeed. There's no dramatics here either. A bit like the minimum, maximum seems settled when the suspension on either side is working fine there as we go through here. I'm not sure whether it should be like that or not, but again, you see, no real reaction there. And then we go to the minimum on the compression and maximum on the expansion. Now this one, you could already see they've gone a bit wide there into turn one, but we come back very nicely. Notice the car is a bit more twitchy here. And as what I found with this setup here, with the minimum and maximum, in terms of the compression and expansion, is that it was very sketchy. Very, very sketchy. The car was very twitchy. Any little input caused a bigger reaction in the car, and it just wasn't that good, to be honest with you, as we go into the left-hander there. And then what we're going to do then is jump to the default setup. Okay, so this default, this is what the car runs with. Obviously, my fastest lap originally I did was on this setup. But let's come through here. No dramatics there at all in the car. As we go into the left, what happens here? Nothing major. Into the right we go. And we're really pushing on now, abusing the curves a little bit. Again, no real issues here. So we're going to the left and then the right. Now, you could argue I'm going to be very much used to this setup because it is the default setup here as we go. And that's actually the fastest sector of them all there with 33.887 as well. We're going to continue the lap a little bit because we're going to look at the hairpin next in terms of each of the setups. Going into the Tidgney, there was no real issues. The one with the front curb issue obviously had issues a little bit at Tidgney. And also the opposite way around, the rear end on exit there had a bit of an issue. The hairpins are focused here. As we go into the hairpin then, in towards the braking zone we go. Any dramatics here, nothing major. We keep it nice and tidy on exit. Little bit of a twitch, nothing major then as we continue on out of there. The next setup up is minimum as we go into here. As we go a little bit deeper then, so maybe struggle a bit on the brakes maybe. Leaving on exit though, no twitchiness at all there as we leave that corner. That's very nice indeed actually. Right, we've got maximum compression, minimum expansion then, as we go into here. Again, a little bit deep, nothing major. Continuing on exit. Oh, you can see that the rear very much more twitchy then on that one. As we then go to the maximum and maximum then. Now, I did say this felt pretty good, to be fair, as we come into here. What's going to happen as we go through here? And out, and no issues again then. No dramatics whatsoever. That's good, that. And what we'll do then is we'll go to the min-max. So this is the super sketchy one. Or it was on the S's at least. What's it like here as we leave this corner? Not too bad, actually. Not too bad at all there. So it seems like the max on the rear really helps with acceleration, it appears, maybe. Not too sure. So what we're going to do now is continue the lap on this setup then, and we're going to have a look at 130R because there are some big differences there. There's also here at Spoon as well. You know, this one was a bit sketchy. See the understeer there, having to slow the car down. So you can see the front is really not happy, where the rear was more happy on this setup as we exit the hairpin earlier on. And on Spoon there, leaving it, no issues at all with grip there at all. We're going to head towards 130R then. We're going to have a look at each of these setups. This is the final corner we're going to be looking at here then. As we head in towards 130R, we're going to turn in here. We're looking around 148 there. Does it very nicely there. It does it very nicely indeed, actually. No understeer there, so mid-high speed there. Not too shabby at all. More high speed, isn't it, really? Minimum then. Let's have a look at this then as we go into this corner. And a little bit of understeer there. You can just see that a little bit, but it's safe. And that's what I was talking about earlier on as well. A little bit understeer. Did drop quite a bit there. Maximum on the front, minimum on the rear then. Coming into here. And, oh, look at that. We have to lift off massively there. A huge amount of understeer with that. It just didn't feel right at all. So you see that's not the setup to go for here, really. Maximum then. We're going to chuck it in here. What's going to happen then? 148. Yeah, that's about right. Looks very nice. Steady. Happy days indeed with that one. Let's go to the default setup then as we head here. We know what this should be doing. We said 148 earlier on as we took it in here. We dropped 2 miles now, but again, it looks very safe. There's only one of them that really looked very understeery there. It really did, and that was the maximum, I think it was. Ready to hear then the chicane. We're not going to look at this too much. We're just going to head towards the line then. And this actually, insanely, is a 2 minute, 0.2 laps. So I improved my record here, and on the others, I got nowhere near. So weirdly, the default setup is best for me. But it may be that I have to mix them up a little bit, you know, just up the values a little bit, down the values a little bit. And that's the fun of it, I suppose. With only 2 options to change, you can really fine tune it. This is the minimum lap that we're coming across the line for. 2 minute 0.6. They're not too bad, to be honest with you. But it's nowhere near the default setup. The default setup did feel really good, to be fair. Maximum min. So this was the bouncy front end of the curb issue as we go through the right here as we head towards the line. And what kind of lap time is this going to be? It's a 2 minute 0.7 again there. Now we're going to go towards the maximum. So I said this felt pretty good, to be fair, as we continue on out of here and head towards the line. And this isn't the quickest of the laps, but the optimum you're going to see is down to a 2 minute 0.2, which you can see there. I know this is very similar to the default setup. It felt very similar. It really did. In fact, it felt better in some cases. It was just a bit more risky in some places. Maximum here, compression versus expansion then. You saw the bounciness and the awkwardness there, and that was a 2 minute 0.8, and that was obviously on the first lap because the other laps were crashes. And as I say, it was very risky business on that setup, and it really was. So I definitely learned a lot from this in terms of the tweaks I made there. Very much balanced car there, seemed to work out in terms of the setup numbers. I don't know if that makes sense in the real life setups, but we're talking about Gran Turismo here. You have to play to the physics you've got. Min was understeer and safe. Max felt pretty good. There was a slight bit more risk there if you hit a bump too hard, etc. But other than that, it was fine. It rotated well. And default, I'd say, was best of all. You saw that there. I say that is it for me then, folks. I do hope you have enjoyed this video. Something to take thought on, something to look at potentially if you want to have a little go at tuning. 2 options, very easy to look at. My logo is there if you want to subscribe to the channel. Well, if you did like the video, please do give it a like. I appreciate it as well. And I appreciate all the support you've given me over the years that I've been doing this. 2 videos there to check out. And once again, a big thank you for watching. And I hope to see you in another video. I'll live stream again very soon.